thank you guys on behalf of the Venture Atlanta and Southeast community. Thank you so much for giving back. It is a beautiful thing to be a part of. This is not about us, not about you. It's about the next generation. And on behalf of the community, thank you. Give us a sneak peek, Kelly. What are you going to talk about to your executive session today?
All right, sneak peek. We'll start at the end, and then I'll tell you why it's important. My session is about improving the odds, improving the outcome, a positive M&A transaction outcome for you, especially for you founders, but also your employees, your customers, certainly your investors. That's what it's about. Just like you have a marketing plan, you have a growth plan, you have a financial plan, you have a budget. There are ways to produce plans that will produce the outcome that you like, that you need, that you want. Why is it important? You all know the statistics about how many entrepreneurial companies fail. We're not far behind that on entrepreneurial companies who cannot produce a positive outcome for themselves and their investors. So that's why it's important. Few $100 million of outcome have been produced for the investors using this approach, but maybe there's one little nugget in there that would help you. So that's what the session is about.
Give us a teaser. What is one you've had several exits, you've been a successful entrepreneur with exits, a rare breed. What's the one piece of advice that stands out most that you would tell yourself in your younger years?
Boy, that's a tough question. Certainly you should have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
But the one piece of advice I have, especially for entrepreneurial companies, you have to have confidence in your management team and your leadership team, and you have to do it together. And it took me a while to figure out, wait, this is a team event here. It's a team event. It's not a whole company event, but it is an executive leadership team event. And I wish I'd known that right from the start. I don't know if Rachel Spasser is here, one of my very good friends and an executive early on in the first venture-backed company I ran. But there was a point she walked into my office, and I was 8 months in the job already as the CEO. And she walked in and she said, "Now you're a CEO." And I thought, well, what have I been doing for the last 9 months? But it took a while for me to grow into this is a whole team event. And don't have confidence in just yourself. You have to have confidence in your leadership team.
I love how much you care about team. It just shows with everything you do, including your support of our local MLS team. We'll talk about that more later. Mark, again, thank you so much for your engagement today. You could have the stage to yourself, but you're giving it back to the next generation. Give us a sneak peek in terms of what you're going to talk about today.
Sure. Hi, my name is Mark Gorlin. As he might have told you, I started a company called Roadie that sold to UPS in 2021. Also started a company called Cabbage that sold to American Express in 2020. That's two of them. There's other startups, so either I cannot keep a job or I'm actually decent at this company thing. So part of what my talk is about is when you are working with big companies, whether it's they're acquiring you, you've already been acquired, it might not look like that. It might be an acquisition or a partnership. How do you deal with these big cruise ships when you're trying to be a speedboat? And how do you work with them, and what are the usual sort of, the big boulders in the road that you have to sort of navigate around, and the little pebbles in your shoe that trip you up and don't allow you to work with them? So I'm going to talk about all kinds of stuff in there, from as you're going through the deal, really setting expectations of what you think you can get. If you're going to get investment from a big company, what should you really expect to get, and what should you not expect to get? That makes it a lot better on you and better on that company. In spite of all the nice lawyers that sponsor this, I will tell you how to keep overzealous lawyers from slowing down deals and actually get them done quicker. And really, it's about you. Is anybody here going through a transaction right now or wanting to sell their company? I know wanting to sell your company, there's a lot more hands than that. That's enough. You're just the ones being honest. Anything you want to know as you sort of work your way into that process and what it takes. Happy to talk about and stay as long as you want up there. So just happy to be here and
Thank you.
Visit with everybody.
Thank you. I think what's so unique about your story, not just two incredible exits, but the fact that you've actually been a speedboat inside the big tanker since the sale of Roadie. And what is the biggest, that's really hard to do. There are not a lot of entrepreneurs that have succeeded with that, and I'm sure that there are war stories there. What's the best piece of advice in terms of how to navigate living inside the big tanker if you're a speedboat?
I mean, if you're a speedboat, there's one is having the expectations of what you need to have set, but the other is in big corporations, there's a lot of process and a lot of bureaucracy. So you're going to get hit with a lot of sticky and stupid from the big company that you're like, I've never had to deal with this before. I don't want to deal with it now. What am I doing? So having somebody inside that corporate entity that's got some power and some juice, and they become your sticky and stupid remover. And they can go and they can make some of those problems go away. And you don't use it very often, but when it comes up, you've got a way to get really those big problems off your back so you can keep building your company. Because there's good stuff about being part of a big company too, but it tends to be the irritants that come in, and you need someone who's got the power because they're inside that ship to push those away from you.
I think this is fantastic advice, especially not just for sell side, but on the buy side. If you're acquiring somebody, this is also a really important tactic. Austin, welcome. Thank you. Welcome to the stage of Venture Atlanta. It's a joy to have you, given your leadership at Google. You're a people partner there. Talk to us a little bit about a little sneak peek into what your session is going to be about today.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I'm just thrilled to be here. You know, my session is on how talent and hiring strategies are changing in the age of generative AI and what most startups are getting wrong about it. And so kind of a lot of the focus is going to be on understanding that AI is not now, nor will it be in the future, a silver bullet to all of the problems that you're having. That goes for large corporate organizations, and it goes for the lean and efficient startups that you all are running today. The focus really needs to be on those human-centered capabilities and how AI can kind of work in collaboration with the skills that are needed today to be successful for those businesses.
Yeah, and Google is such an interesting example because you are one of the big corporates. I mean, just by virtue of its size, it's hard to move. And it has pivoted so significantly in the last 18 months around AI and made really, really impressive progress. Talk about how that has been a people challenge, you know, in terms of navigating that kind of transition based on what Mark just described as inherent to a bigger organization.
It's such a pivotal question. I think one of the big things, and I'll talk about this a little bit in the exec session with Kim, is that a part of making that transition in the AI space, whether it's people or technology, is that you've got to make the cultural shifts and invest in them, as well as the technology shifts. And so that goes to, you know, one, going from knowledge of the technology that you have to application to what is the long-term vision of this work. There's so many companies out there that actually 95% of organizations that are launching AI, generative AI in their companies, chatbots, aren't seeing a material financial return because there's no strategic vision. They just want to make sure they're part of the game. They don't want to get left behind, right? But if we're not bringing value and it's not impacting the bottom line, is there true value, or are you just spinning your wheels, wasting time when you could be investing in other spaces? So I think it is the understanding of what this could be, and again, how that collaboration helps to speed up getting things done to allow you to reallocate time to things that may be more important for you or to the business that you're running.
Right, okay, we're gonna have to come back to that. There's so many nuggets in there, so hold that thought. I'm gonna introduce David Politis, my good friend from New York City. We go way back. It's awesome to have you on stage. You have roots here in Atlanta. Talk a little bit about your roots and what you're gonna talk about today.
Yeah, well, thank you. And this is my first venture Atlanta. I started my career in Atlanta 20 plus years ago, and there was zero tech community in Atlanta, and it is amazing. I mean, hanging out outside there before this started, the energy is infectious, and it's amazing to see what's happened in this city. So I've been part of 3 companies with roots in Atlanta: Vocalocity, which was acquired by Vonage; Cloud Sherpas, which was acquired by Accenture; and then Better Cloud, which I started 13 years ago, was acquired by Vista 3 years ago. So that's kind of been my journey, and the conversation today is all the things that, you know, when I tell that story, when you hear anything you see on LinkedIn, you listen to some podcasts, it's like everything is up and to the right, it's this nice journey, and then there's some exit, and it's clean, and you're over. The reality is along the way there's so many issues, roadblocks, near-death experiences, mistakes. Everyone, even the best companies have that. But when you're looking from the outside, you don't see that. And so my goal with today's talk is to talk about the things that I fucked up and that I would do differently. And actually, as I was preparing for it, I realized it's not just the mistakes I made, but it's the mistakes most people make, when, especially first-time founders building their companies. And so the list is too long for the session that we have later, but I took a bunch of input from the people who are joining, and we're going to try to target the topics that are top of mind for everyone.
Thanks for coming down to share those insights. It's that there's no teacher-like experience, and but paying it forward is absolutely valuable. So you kind of conjured my imagination of you 20 years ago. There was no real tech community back then, not like it is today here in Atlanta. Imagine a David Politis is wandering out in the hallways and you run into him from 20 years ago. What advice would you tell him about what he should do here?
I think that what my advice would be, there are people that you're going to meet here that you don't even know the impact that that's going to have for your companies, for your careers, for advice down the line. Like there are people that I met, actually today I ran into a bunch of them out there in the hallway that I haven't seen some in 10, 15 years that I met at the small little dinners that we would do of the 10 people running tech companies. Yeah. And I leaned on those people throughout the years, or got advice or got ideas. And so these moments are unique actually, and it's amazing to have all of these people in one place. And so I would just spend every minute that you can meeting people, and everyone else here I was very uncomfortable personally, socially in those years, and I wasn't comfortable going up to people and introducing myself. And I think the only reason everyone's here is to do that. And so I would just urge everyone to do that. You don't know where things could take you.
I think that is such good advice in general. You underestimate how connections and influence you have in life. It's a long life, and treat it that way. Kelly, team. I'm going to come back to you on team. I'm going to speculate a little bit. I sense that you probably have a formula for identifying good team leaders. That you kind of look for something. We didn't talk about this in advance, so I'm kind of exploring with you. But everybody here would say that you don't win by yourself. You win with great teams. So when you are building that great team, like how do you think about it? What do you look for? What do you not look for? What do you kick out? Talk a little bit more about how you, as a CEO, as a leader, how you build great teams.
So, great question. Hard to do. And there are many ways to build a great team. There's not just one great team, one great formula. In the companies that we have been successful with, and it's a we thing, I have found the people that want to be, but first of all, we all self-select. I remember we had a marketing executive who decided, you all are not willing to move as slowly on this marketing plan as I need to move to be comfortable. The person. He self-selected out. Well, that was perfect because he was right. We were moving faster than him. We were a little bit fly by the seat of the pants. It was an early stage startup kind of a thing. So people do self-select. That's the first thing. Second thing, at least with the teams that I have been a part of and led, there is a willingness and an ambition to succeed in whatever you're doing. Don't do it if you're not going to succeed. Believe you're going to succeed. Hey, let's go start a new product line. Okay. It's not really in our direct frame of products as it is right now, but let's go be successful at it and work it until the minute that you either succeed or you fail in a terrible blaze of glory, but it's a moment of defeat instead of a year of defeat where you're thinking the whole time, I can't be successful. So ambition, willingness to be adaptive, and not just have a single approach you're willing to take, lateral thinking. This is what the advice would tell us to do, but we're going to take this road and we're going to do it with all we have. So really it is about the creativity and the ambition and the kumbaya of it. I mean, it's all for one for all. We don't win unless we win together. And there is no, in the teams that I've been a part of, and I'm sure this is part of the way that I lead, there is no one person in the team and I'm on executive teams in general, that's more important than the other people on the executive team. And in my world, that includes me. I may be the CEO, but people aren't going to follow me if I'm not a part of a team that they can really grasp onto. I know I'm saying a lot of the same things here. It is about ambition and creativity and lateral thinking.
Well, and I think every time I've been around you, this ethos of we, that we will win, that this is what we can do. I think that whenever you make it, once you realize it's not about you, right? It's about creating something greater for us. And I see that in you, and I appreciate that. Mark, what I appreciate about you is I think you've got this, I'm intuiting, but I have this instinct that you've got to have this talent about seeing around the corner, right? Seeing around the corner, right? You did roti, you did cabbage. Those weren't obvious ideas at first. Now, executing them is even harder. But in this world where everything's up in the air, there's so much transition and so much tumult around the AI ecosystem. I'm curious what ideas get you excited right now in terms of, opportunities for innovation, opportunities for disruption, opportunities for, the logistics or shipping industry is probably very different in 5 years versus today. Would love to tap into your brain a little bit about what you're seeing.
I mean, I think what you've done is startup in one area. It's hard I don't know that I could do a financial services or a logistics one again. I think you get it learned out of you. I would go back to, if you're looking for things, I mean, clearly AI is going to change things. I could put my Captain Obvious cape on. But I would go back to something more simple that my dad always said. It's important to be in what is big or important at the time. I mean, Lyft and Uber wasn't that big when we were starting Roti. And his story was like, if you got to be in that hot industry. And if he said, if skunk farming ever becomes really important, he goes, I'm going to go find the best skunk farmer I can find, and I'm going to start a company with him. So AI is kind of the skunk farming right now. And finding things around that and looking at patterns in the past. As I look at AI, I look at less of what you see in the regular news and more about like the badness that can happen from it and the companies that are in cybersecurity and the other side of it, they're constantly going to have to keep up with what those threats are, because if you look across any technology, that always follows and usually has a pretty profitable, and many companies can do well in sort of protecting the populace from our innovation.
So the company you keep really matters, especially in an environment of uncertainty. On that note, I think we'll close with you, Austin. We might have one more for you, David. But at Google, you have incredible talent. You've really done a remarkable job of inculcating, cultivating talent. When someone has Google on a resume, it means something. And you've seen several business cycles now. So there's this next wave of Gen Zers that are coming into Google, and they may be thinking differently. I'm curious what you do differently to coach, or how do you coach, encourage, guide the next wave of business leaders that are coming into Google?
One of the most important things that I talk with current Googlers as well as those interested in opportunities at Google is to really focus on those things that make them them and not replicatable, right? Yeah. What is your differentiator? Yeah. Is it the way that you think? Is it the creativity? Is it the combination of degrees that you had in school? Is it your experiences, right? There's a lot of really, really smart people at Google and many of the other tech companies, but what is the thing that makes you come to mind in a discussion at the table, right? Whether it be about product, performance, things outside of work. Why is it that Austin is the first to mind when we think of this thing, right? Is it the network that you've built? Is it how you show up? Is it your critical thinking, your analysis? What are the things that make you uniquely you? And really lean into those things.
I love it. It's just such good advice for entrepreneurs with their businesses as well, because we were talking about this earlier, David, how hard it is to differentiate. What makes you different as a company? That is the most important question that we're going to talk about it more later. But that theme around differentiation is so important now, because you don't really differentiate around software anymore. That's not really the mode. You don't differentiate around geography. You don't differentiate around a lot of different things. So what advice do you give to entrepreneurs around how to establish differentiation?
It's that's a lot. We can talk for like 5 hours on it, but I do think that right now it is important because, like you said, it's hard to differentiate on product. I mean, people can vibe code most things quickly, copy your website. I actually think that identifying your ICP, your ideal customer profile, and then really making sure that You create a brand, you create trust, you're out in front of that ICP being the partner that they want to work with, not because the product is better, but because they trust you more. They see that you have more happy customers. They see that you have better partnerships and deeper integrations. They see that you yourself are the thought leader and the person who's going out into the market and pushing innovation. That's actually the way to differentiate yourself. Not that those things are easy. But creative go-to-market tactics. I was telling someone before about sending SDRs with swag bags to prospects, and breaking into offices in New York City to do that, and that's going to separate you from, from other people.
Maybe from society.
Yeah. So a lot of different ways, but I do think it's a really important topic to be talking about today and right now for everyone.
Well, if you like this, you're going to love the executive sessions. This is clearly, as demonstrated, an incredibly talented group of leaders, but more importantly, great communities start by great leaders like these guys giving back to the next generation. Thank you so much, each of you, for participating today, and welcome to Venture Atlanta.